Hey, family. I am going live here on YouTube for the first time for my first gardening, which is a weekly series I've been doing on Instagram. But I'm here with you guys this morning on YouTube in hopes that I can redirect your attention over to Instagram if you want to see what we've done here from the very beginning. But let me give you an update. This is probably week 7 or 8 of my first garden. And what you see here, at one point there was absolutely nothing but grass. And as you can see, we raised the garden bed, we erected a fence, we did some planting, and voila, 2 months later, this is what we have. So I'll show you guys a little bit of what is growing, what we've just done this morning. Again, this is week 7 or 8 since the beginning of the growing season. So we have collards here, kale, carrots. I'll show you the carrots are actually, if you come a little closer and I can show you right here, you see how the carrot is about 1-2 inches sticking up from the ground? That's how you know that your carrots are ready to be pulled. So I'm going to pull it right here. So we got a little baby carrot going on here. We have more growing. So as you can see, this is our carrot land right here. I'm going to get my little trusty little pouch here that keeps all my handy things that I've been pulling to eat and to snip. So let me come around and I'll show you what else we've done. We've harvested some collards. These collards grow really good in here. This is squash, and I've been chopping on this squash because this squash will take over your garden. I'll show you on the other end in a minute what I mean. So this here was planted here. It was a bulb. We weren't sure what the bulb was. It was a gift to me, and that was another scenario that I learned my lesson from. You should never put anything in the ground without knowing exactly what's going to be coming up, because squash takes over, and had I known that it was a squash plant, I would not have planted it here. This is my sunflower, which is now taller than me. So this sunflower is going to grow really big, pretty yellow flowers. And here is our tomatoes. So as you can see, this here is nothing but an old shirt, an old cotton shirt that I had didn't want anymore. And the tomatoes were top heavy and they fall. We had a real strong storm come through here 2 nights ago, and it kind of ripped a lot of things up here and toppled over a lot of the tomato plants. So we had to come back in and pull the tomato plants back up and stake it and use something soft like cotton to tie them so they can grow erect again. And the reason we did it that way was because you don't want to do, I'll show you some string we used before, but the string can cut into your plant. And so you don't want the rough string to cut into the plant. You want to give them something that they can work and maneuver with. So these are the tomatoes. I'll show you these here. Here's one that's ready. Can you see that? See the string here that we used for this one? So we switched up and did a cut. So these here are red little tomatoes. I'll pull one. Nice little cherry tomatoes. So we have a whole lot of cherry tomatoes growing here. I'll take this one as well. And they pop right off. And I was told, again, this is my first garden, right? And I was told that when the plants give you resistance, like these are, they're not ready. They're not ready to come off. So when they come right off, almost right off in your hand, that's when you know that, they're ready to be plucked. So we have plenty of tomatoes growing here. Here is cucumbers. Plenty of cucumbers as well. Look at this nice big juicy cucumber. And you just take this at the end and twist like so, and it comes right off for you. So I got a really nice cucumber, and these are growing really nicely. These are a little smaller than others. I have a lot of them here on the ground. As you see all these here on the ground that I had to pluck. But in the interest of time, we'll move right along and show you what else is here. Plenty of tomatoes. As you can see, like this tomato plant here has kind of toppled over. So we'll have to come back and stake this one, so they can grow a little stronger and it won't interfere with the other plants I have growing, like my peppers are growing down there. So we'll pick those up in a while once we get some more stakes. This is corn. This was another stock that we had to restake because the storm tossed it over and it was leaning, so we had restaked them. But these will be corn, these will be growing corn and just a few. So hopefully the next time I come back to you, I'll show you the corn that we can eat from. Come on around to, these are watermelon plants. Now, what I've learned, again, this is my learning period. This is my first time growing anything. And so far, I'll probably give myself a B, a B plus, because I am, producing fruit and vegetables. But there are a lot of things that I've learned that I won't do for next season. For instance, these watermelon plants, they need a lot of space. They need a lot of space. So, I would just give them their own little separate space for next year. But they will be growing. You see the little buds coming? So they will be growing now. Watermelons take a while to harvest. So about 3 months. And I just planted these about 3 weeks ago. And here we are already, maybe 3-4 weeks ago. Squash, again, I can't stress enough, will take over. As you can see, this whole plant here is squash, and I've been chopping on the leaves, so it was actually a lot more bigger than this. The squash was growing out here on the other side of the fence, so I had to cut its leaves. See, I had to chop its leaves all squash growing. We've already came through and pulled off and ate from this squash plant several times already. But here's more squash growing. This one's not quite ready. And so, and they grow nice and big and chunky squash too. So I pulled all the big ones off, so I don't have any that I can pull off to show you. But yeah, they grow to be like this big, really nice size. So what else can I show you? So these I like because the collards and the kale, and just for information purposes, family, it's best to come out here early, like when the sun first come up, 6-7 o'clock in the morning, to do all this is what I'm doing now. But as you see, I have my handy dandy cameraman and partner in crime behind the camera to help me, so I had to, we couldn't come out here as early as I wanted to, but nevertheless, if you're doing this, I would recommend coming early before the sun reaches its peak to do all this, to do your watering, your cutting, whatever you got to do in the garden. But these are collards. Collards is another handy plant, so these are ready, and you just like that. Just that easy. You take off the leaf. If you want to cut, you can cut. You don't want to cut all the way down to the very root core, because you see these things here? Now what I should have done was chopped it a little past that. So see these two things here? These are where more leaves will grow. Can you see that here? Let me show you. This one here and this one here is where more leaves will grow. So you want to make sure when you snap your greens, give it space for more leaves to grow from its stock. Okay, and this is kale. Kale is done the same way. You know what I'm saying? Really easy to pull. These are ready. These are ready. What you want to do with, if you want to just clean them and boil them, or Eat them raw, put them in a salad. That's, you know, you have all those options to do. So I have some other things growing here, but again, we had to come in and restake a lot of the plants that are already growing fruit because they'll take over, and the other ones, like these are peppers, and as you can see, the flowers are starting to bloom. You see the little white flowers on the peppers? Those are starting, those are where the red peppers are going to bloom from. But the other leaves were so covered and you know, smothering it, that they're not growing nearly as tall and as strong as the other ones around them, because the root activity and everything else is preventing them from growing as strong as they need to grow. So we came in and we kind of chopped around them, so give them some elbow room, some space to grow. One last thing I want to show you guys before we get off of here is compost. So compost is all your scraps that you eat from when you're in your kitchen. And instead of throwing all your scraps away, like banana peels and like little broccoli stalks and paper, this paper will help the compost you know, what do I want to say? You know, break it up. It breaks up. That was corn and all kind of other stuff is in here. This is beet. I should have maybe chopped this up a little more, but I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. And so you take all your scraps like so, empty them into the bed, right? I have this little corner section as nothing is growing here. And you empty that into the bread along with the paper and everything, because the paper helps break it down. This is a squash that was rotted out because it sat on the ground too long. And then you just take all your earth and you put it, here's some lemon peels. Should have put that down in there. And cover it all up like so. Okay. And then you want to put on top of it, you want to put some wood chips, something on top like so, and keep it watered, keep it nice and moist. In about a month's time, all that compost would have broken down and you won't see anything left with the soil. They call it black gold. So you after a month's time, you can dig all this up and you can use that to feed your garden, right? That becomes plant food. Some of the best plant food you can get. And I believe that that's one of the reasons this garden is growing so healthy and strong too, because of, you know, the compost helps. Okay, family, I have, over here is grapes. So the trellis is what we built here. And in a couple of years, this whole thing will be full of grapes. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'll show you more of that at another time. But this is my first garden. Again, I invite you to watch all the series. They're about 15-20 minutes long each one. And what I'm doing is the things I've learned along the way in the gardening, I'm sharing. I'm sharing what I've learned, all my do's, all my don'ts, all my mistakes, and all those things. So if you're interested at all in yourself and growing anything for yourself, head on over to Instagram and check out my first garden series there. And my Instagram page is my name, which is Alqamar Malik. Alqamar Malik, Alqamar, last name Malik. And you'll find all the series there. This one, I think, is series 6 or 7. So the rest are there. All right, family, take care of each other out there. Thanks for tuning in. Share if you've seen anything here that you think will be helpful to others. Peace.